Okay, so today we are starting with the next part of our Pandas study, which is the data frames, right? Now, in the first step, what we did was the series, and in series we found that we could have one dimensional data, that is one column of information along with the index. I hope you remember. If I quickly make one series and show it to you in a normal format, so it was something like this. This was the command to create a series, right? And I'm giving him a list of information. We have done it through NumPy array also, or a direct information. So if I do it like this, and I'm not giving the index values, so he picks up the default indexes were 0, 1, 2, 3, and these are your series elements. Okay, so I could not create more than one column of information in the series because that is how it supports, right? So what do we have? The next data structure in Pandas is the data frames. Okay. Now data frames is actually a two-dimensional object. So you are like, imagine your data to be like your table, SQL table. So you have multiple columns and then multiple records in them, just like that. Okay. And why do I call them that it can contain heterogeneous data? Because all sorts of data, you can have numbers also, you can have decimal point numbers also, you can have characters also, you can have NaN values also. Everything is possible. And size and data both are mutable. I'm giving you these lines specifically highlighted because in the MCQs, they might, give a question saying which of the following is incorrect regarding data frames. Okay, so they might give one-dimensional object, heterogeneous, size and data are mutable. Okay, so what is incorrect is one-dimensional object. Okay, तो ये features वो वाले features हैं जो दिमाग में रखना है for the MCQ part. Okay, so heterogeneous because it allows all sorts of data. Size and data are mutable because I can increase the data size in terms of I can increase more columns, I can increase more rows in the data initially what I've created. And hence it is mutable. Mutable का मतलब है they can change. And data, of course, I can change. The way series में हम लोग update कर सकते हैं data को. Here also I can update the data. Okay. Now in series I only had a row index. This was my row index 0, 1, 2, 3, referring to individual rows. Now when we go to have multiple columns in a data frame, so I'll have a row index separately. I'll have column indexes separately. Columns can again have names, which are more easier to remember, and I call them as column labels also. Similarly here, when I'm going to give my own values in the indexes, I'm going to call them as labels. So row labels or row indexes, column labels or column indexes. Both are there in the data frame. Okay. So this is how a normal, now you understand tables, so it's not a problem for you. We have this as a column, we have this as a row. Column names are there, which we also call as column indexes. And इसके बाहर यहाँ पे we will have the, इसमें heading नहीं होगा. So here we will have the row indexes or the row labels. Default होगा तो numeric होगा, default नहीं होगा तो numeric या character बोलना हो सकता. Now next thing is something on which CBSE focuses a lot in the question part is the creation. What are the categories of creation? I would say that it is a little confusing, so you will have to try out yourself all the ways of creation so that it's clear in the mind that which tarika are you actually using, which method are you actually using in terms of creation. Okay, so what you do is you are either using a NumPy 2D array, okay, either using a list of dictionaries or using a dictionary of list. The name itself is confusing. List of dictionaries. So outer is the list, final is the list. List ke andar you have dictionaries. If I rewind myself saying what is a dictionary and what is a list? List is a list of values enclosed in square brackets. They have default indexes. Dictionary is something which I enclose in curly braces, and every element has a key and a value. And I could give my own keys. There is no concept of default ones there. So अपने keys हम देंगे and every key has a corresponding value. Right? So list of dictionaries or the ulta one, dictionary of list. How does it look like? कैसे करता है? We will learn that. And the other part is the series. I can make 2-3 series and then use those series. Like one series का एक column बनाना. You know, that is my requirement. Name का एक series था, marks का एक series था, telephone number का एक series था. Individual series उठा के एक मेरे को data frame बनाना. Okay. Just a second, please. Right. So these are the various methods, and we have to learn all the methods properly. Right. Now, first and the foremost, like we create a blank series, we can create a blank data frame also. Like series ka method, which we used to create, which will help us create a series is pd.series we would write with S capital. Here it is pd.dataframe with D capital and F capital. Series में S capital होता था, यहाँ पे D and F are capital. Okay. And I've not included it here in that format, but the same story follows that if I think give a blank bracket, it gives me a warning. So I give a D type, right? We used to do that in series also, right? So pd.dataframe, blank brackets. And if I do that, oh, it's accepted. Fine. Series mein it gives a warning. Yahan pe it is accepting the blank thing. Okay, so blank is allowed to create a blank data. Right. Next is using NumPy array. So I've made an array. Again, we have done it for series creation. When you talk about array creation, I can use ARRAY. I can use a range function. I can use zeros. I can use ones. I can use जितने भी arrays के functions हमने किए for creation. Either of them we can use to create the array first, and then that array can be used to create the data frame. Okay, index not mentioned here, so default indexes are written. But you know, these kind of things could be asked to confuse. Can a data frame have one column of information? Yes, it can. Data frame can contain one as well as multiple. Series can contain one, but cannot contain multiple columns. Okay, so I've made a data frame here with one column of information. That's okay. No label upper also, no labels here also, all default. Column index भी default है, row index भी default है. Very much possible. Now here, एक थोड़ा सा typical चीजें तो ध्यान रखना है. When I'm using one array to create a data frame, it makes one column. ये CBSE में पूछा है, ठीक है? So इसको थोड़ा सा ध्यान से देखो. As output question. When I am creating a data frame with one array of information, it makes one column of data. When I take multiple arrays, A1 एक array है, A एक array है, two arrays are there, and I'm using it like this. Create a data frame with a list where every element of the list is an array. I again repeat, make a data frame with a list. What does a list contain? Arrays, two different arrays. It can be any number of arrays. Okay. In that case, the moment it is more than one array, it actually creates it like this. One array as one row. Rather than making one array as one column, it takes one array as one row. So the moment it is multiple arrays to create the data frame, every array becomes one individual row. So you can see 60, 20, 30, 40. The data here picked up in one single row is 60, 20, 30, 40 rather than one column. Row is my, this one. I said, remember row like no. When you say no, it's a row. Aisa wala, horizontal. Column is straight. Right? Okay. And I can take this columns as my next attribute of the data frame function, by which I can add column names. So you can see here, When I do it by default, the column names are default column names, indexes 0, 1, 2, 3. But if I add on this columns attribute, I will be able to mention my column names, column label names, right? As it is going to pick up. Okay, so two attributes now we are talking about. One is my data for the data frame. Other is the columns for my data frame. And the third which we'll do is index. अभी तक हमने index जो लिया है वो default ही लिया. So both the conditions. Okay. Next category. List of dictionary. Please go by the literal meaning of the term. A list containing dictionaries. And the other was a dictionary of lists. A dictionary containing multiple lists. Fine. So we are doing the first one. A list of dictionaries. So my outer cover in which I am making the entire data is a list. Can you see that? I am opening with a list, closing with a list. Which में और कुछ नहीं है. As a list. The whole data is enclosed in the form of a list. And that list contains different dictionaries. And the format of dictionary goes curly braces, and then you have a key and a value. Key and a value. Key and a value. Alag dictionaries. All keys are same here because when you take a dictionary and convert that into a data frame, the keys become the column names. I've highlighted this, that is why. Keys of the dictionary become the column names and the values become the data. So the names will become the column name, and Sushmita, Lakshay, Amir, Kapil will become the name values of the name column. Surname becomes the next column, and Ghosh, Mehta, Khan, Dev becomes the list of next set of values. Column values. Okay. I know by seeing it is a different story. When you start doing it, it becomes a different story. That is why I was wanting practically, when you do it in front of me, that will be best. So let's see if we can arrange that time. Okay, is it fine? List of dictionary. List containing the dictionaries. Dictionaries will be in the format of key and value. All your keys will become the column names and corresponding values will become the data of the columns. Okay, next one. And the next one is the format which we are going to follow majorly for doing our questions. We don't follow any other method maximally. This is the method which we follow. Dictionary of list. Dictionary containing lists. And ultimately, this is being used for creating my database. Okay. So, opening, closing में क्या है? Dictionary. So, curly braces and curly braces. Can you see that? Curly braces and curly braces. Okay. अंदर क्या है? Dictionary का format है. Dictionary का format में you have one key और सारे values एक साथ. Technically, this is a better method of doing it. By list of dictionaries में हर जगह तुम बेवकूफों की तरह key को लिख रहे हो बार. Doesn't make sense, na? So if I go the reverse way around, इन दोनों में से C and D method, if I show you, you'll say D is a better method of doing it, right? But I can use C also definitely. But here I'm writing the heading ones और सारे values उसके अंदर in the form of a list. Heading ones and सारे values उसके अंदर in the form of a list. Obviously, this is a better method of doing it. Okay. So dictionary of lists. That dictionary I use to create my data frame. No index mentioned, and hence it is default indexes. Okay. The rule follows. Keys of the dictionary becomes the column names, and the values become the value of the columns. वो story same. चाहे आप इधर देखो, चाहे आप इधर देखो. ठीक है? Next.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, Manuraj and another person is waiting in the waiting room.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Didn't realize. No, they're not there in the waiting room.
And they were messaging in the group.
अच्छा. I hope they are using the right this thing ID. इनको कल भी join किया था क्या करूं? They are not coming it to me. I mean it's not showing me here. Because if they come in the waiting room ना वो flash भी करता है. यहाँ पे
I
तो
think
मुझे
they have joined the wrong meeting.
they have joined the wrong link. Let me give the link to them also. This time stopping the share for a second. Fine. So we were actually talking about this method. Okay. So this is your data frame creation without index. The previous one, and this is with the specific index. So specific index के अंदर we are giving the index separately. यहाँ column देने की जरूरत नहीं, column names को खुद उठा रहा है from the keys of the data frame, है ना? So let us create one. If you have your systems in front of you, you can try it along with me also, so that at least एक बार हाथ set हो जाएगा. Okay. So we are saying D2 is equal to, I'm creating the dictionary first. Okay. And in the dictionary, let me take what? Doctor ID and doctor name. So this is the key. This is a set of values. IDs, let them be as 2003, sorry, 2004, right? Followed by, and I always prefer that you do the story in the script mode, so that we can make changes if there is any problem. So and when you write it also in the exam paper, so next line. Okay, so that shows actually कि तुमने कहीं कोई गलती तो नहीं करी है. Like I missed out a comma here. The comma has to come. Right. Next is doctor name. So D name. Let me have your names only. A list of names. Now we have Stuti. Then we have Adya. Then we have Anuraj. 4 people, right? And then we have Rodney. Now, if you kind of do some mistake in the setup, like you've given somewhere 2, somewhere 4, somewhere 8, somewhere 10, then that also we'll check what happens in that case. Okay? Like यहाँ पे let us give one name extra and see what it does. Okay, so this is the closure for this list, and then the closure of the dictionary, right? And now I say I want to create a data frame from this dictionary. So I'm saying df1 is equal to pd.dataframe and d2. Okay, print. Yeah. Let us save and run it. Can you try simultaneously with me? Are you having a system with you? But pandas, हाँ pandas installed होगा because series किया हुआ है ना? That's how I do it, and I am taking 4 in doc ID and 5 in names. So what happens? Because errors are also very important. At times they ask you to work on the errors also. कि ऐसा हो रहा है तो, oh sorry, I did not import. तुम लोग बोलते नहीं यार, मैं pandas import नहीं करा. Otherwise he doesn't know what is PD, right? Okay, so let's see. What's my error? See. So my error is a value error which says all arrays must be of the same length. Okay. So if you get this error, you have to check that whether your content is as per the specification, that is all are same. Okay. Now this is a value error. What happens if my data may all the arrays are same, but my index is one less or one more, or maybe less or more. So we'll check that too. So let's first create the correct one, at least like this once, and see. Now DF is not name error. DF is not applied. Whatever said, the DF one. Name error, value error. Please errors के नाम याद रखना. Index out of index not found. Index error. So this is how it looks like for me. This is my input and this is my output. Okay, so here comes my wait, I just arrange it properly so that right. So this is one column ID, or you can say column label. Okay, label name for columns. These are my indexes by default indexes. Okay. What happens if I try to give a index of my own? Right? Comma index, just the way you would give it to series. Let my indexes be A. Index can be B. You're giving it as per rows, right? So how many rows are there? 5 rows are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And यहाँ पे I give only 3. Now let's see what error is shown to me. Value error again. Shape of the passed value is 5, 2. Index is 3, 2. Okay. So all have to work in sync. All your arrays have to be of the same length. All your indexes have to be of the same length. If you go wrong somewhere, it will not work. That is what I wanted to show you. We have to be careful about that. Okay. So here I have to give him 5 indexes. C, D, E. Now let's see. I'm using the method dictionary of lists, dictionary containing lists. Fine. We have done individual dictionaries in 11. About dictionary of list we have done, right? So these are my indexes. This is my column labels, and this is my data. As per this one. Jisha, you I think will remember that we had done it in class 10th, but Jaskaran is completely new to this. Jaskaran, I'll just kind of brief you in one case that when I'm creating series, when I've done series in the first term, my series would allow me only one column of information, right? This much so you remember. Now we are learning a data structure wherein I can create multiple columns of information, and that data structure is my data frame in Pandas. Okay, multiple ways are there to create it. Currently, I'm sticking to the one which we are going to follow for the majority of the times, which is a dictionary of list method. Dictionary के अंदर dictionary format में, that is key or value format में, lists are there. My values are in the form of list. So क्या करता है? Dictionary के keys को उठा के column बना देता है. Right? That you can see here. Doc ID is one column, D name is another column. और जो जितनी भी आपकी list of values है, they become one column of data. Is this much clear? I know you've joined just now. Okay. So you have your machines in front of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you start import pandas as PD? एक बार करो. Everybody do once. Make one. तो at least एक ना data frame बनाने में confidence आ जाएगी.
Ma'am, I don't have my system.
Okay, no problem. You can do it on a piece of paper. एक बार अपने हाथों से लिख लो. If not, type it. है ना? And keep it the moment you have your system, you can practice. No problem. Just one question. I will not take more. There are 3 minutes to this meeting. So I'll start again the next one. Till then, this is in front of you. You can take I will give you a click in the group. At least this much we create. गलतियां होंगी तो मैं शेयर पे देख भी लूंगी उसको. बट एक बात बनाए. At least एक, you know that we know that हाँ ठीक है. तो मैं at least एक डेटा फ्रेम बनाना आ गया. फिर इसमें we learn today कि addition divisions कैसे करते हैं. Adding new record, adding new column. How do I do that? If you don't have your machine, you can write. No problem, Disha. Write it down. You know, once you write also yourself, when you will write it, you will get to understand the things better. Just looking at it doesn't make you familiar to the system. I have sent in the group also. You can make any data of your you know, interest, कुछ भी. But what you have to understand is कि मेरा अगर columnar data ऐसा है तो उसका corresponding data frame कैसे बनेगा. If you know, if you do the vice versa thing कि columnar data देख के I should know कि अच्छा ये मेरे indexes है तो ये index के time पे I have to give. These are my keys of the dictionary. वहाँ पे देना है. These are my data of the dictionary. वहाँ पे देना है. If you are able to correlate that, my job is done. I just go and have a little bit of water and come back. And I'm stopping this meeting. So within 2 minutes maybe I'm joining back. तब तक एक क्वेश्चन करके रखो. जो मशीन पे कर सकता है मशीन पे करो, जो लिख के कर सकता है लिख के करो. ठीक है. मशीन पे कोई ना कोई करो so that I can just cross check and you can also see your error. Take any data of your choice. Okay. So 2 minutes के बाद I'm joining back again.